This is the CBC Morning Report for today, Wednesday, September 13th. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. In our top story, there's great concern this morning that an animal that has become a significant part of the island's tourism product dating back decades is now facing additional threats to its survival and reproductive cycle. The hawksbill turtle, nesting season runs from June until November, and those mainly responsible for ensuring their well-being during and after the June to November nesting season would like to see a greater effort to help them keep returning to the island shores in safety. Director of the Barbados Sea Turtle Project, Carla Daniel, says the rodent problem in the south of the island especially, along with other predators, is having a negative impact on the number of hatchlings that eventually survive and make it to adulthood.
We've had issues with rats, and this was years, like over a decade ago. Within the last 5 years, there's been a significant resurgence. And within those 5 years, previously, our issues with rats were primarily rats attacking hatchlings as they came up. They would maybe go into the grass and the rats would attack them. What we're seeing now is rats are actually digging down into the nests and eating the incubating eggs. And they're also, after the eggs have incubated and the hatchlings have torn their way out of the shells, now they're still down in the sand, the rats are digging down into the nests and they're eating the hatchlings before they're able to emerge. So you basically have what I would call like 3 predation streams. They're eating fresh incubating eggs. They're eating hatchlings, both premature and mature hatchlings that are still in the sand. And then they are attacking hatchlings after they have emerged from the nest when they're trying to find their way to the sea. And rats are very, very efficient predators. They're very, very smart, and they can kill an entire clutch of eat an entire clutch of eggs or kill an entire nest of hatchlings in a very, very short space of time.
She adds that it's not just turtles under threat from the rats, as crabs are also being attacked as well. But the threat to the turtles is even more acute because they're critically endangered species.
These rats are out in the daytime. They're out in large numbers. We recently had a situation where the rats were attacking a nest of hatchlings and I had to stand with a piece of wood to beat them back from going for the hatchlings until we were able to get a bucket to collect them. The day before that, and this may be the video you're referring to, I saw a couple hatchlings and immediately got containers, started to pick those up. They were under a light, they were disoriented. And then when I tried to search the area to try to find others, every single hatchling that I found had been attacked by a rat. Some of them were just bitten, others, the rats had bitten into them and eaten their organs. Some of those were still alive. So rat predation is vicious, it is violent, it is extremely gruesome, and the animals suffer very badly before they die. Rats will also store and stash their food. So sometimes when there's a large amount of food, they don't have the time to actually eat because when they eat, they allow the prey to get away. So what they do is that they incapacitate as many as they possibly can to create a food store. So they will go and they will bite the hatchlings to incapacitate them. And then in some instances, they will they'll take them up and they'll take them like to a boulder or to the base of a tree and they will pile those injured hatchlings up and they will just stay there and suffer until the rat comes back and eats them alive.
Meanwhile, Ms. Daniel says the majority of Barbadians and tourists are generally very helpful when either calling to report hatchlings in trouble or nesting turtles in distress. However, they do encounter some situations where some people are potentially breaking the laws relating to nesting turtles by taking them away from the beach when they discover them. She says the team recently received what was perhaps one of the strangest calls ever after hatchlings were observed in the area of the Ivy, St. Michael.
If you're not familiar with where the Ivy is far from any type of ocean, far from the coast, and these hatchlings were actually found in the road. So when I got this call for these turtles in the road, I immediately thought it had to be tortoises, like maybe somebody had a tortoise that laid eggs and the baby tortoises got out. So I responded expecting to get some land turtles and having to find a home for them. But when I got to the location, it was actually two baby sea turtles. And these kids had been playing and they found them, told one of the kids' parents, mother called the police called us. So I went and she actually went with the children and we went back to the area where they found them. We found one squished in the road. We found another one a little further down the road in a driveway. We found one at somebody's house. So in total, we found quite a few hatchlings. And what happened here is still a mystery. So I would like to remind Barbadians, hatchlings are super cute. It is hatchling season right now. You may be tempted to take them home for your child, to take them home for yourself. You are condemning them to death. They are sea turtles. They have an extremely complex life cycle. You are doing them a disservice. And even if you keep them for a while and they get bigger and you try to release them, they're not going to be able to survive because they would have missed out on crucial stages of their lives, which was supposed to occur out at sea, that instead occurred in some tub of water at your house, a glass bowl, or a fish tank. Please be mindful of the fact that it is illegal to have sea turtles in your possession. There's a $50,000 fine, up to 2 years in prison. This is in the fisheries regulations and under the Fisheries Act. Please, please, please do not take sea turtles home. Do not try to keep them as pets. Do not take sea turtle eggs.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, calls for a greater effort to ensure Guyana's oil wealth benefits all Guyanese.
Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout or Brownie Pack, or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Alves Grant at aagrant@cbc.bb for further details. Fun School is back, and we're looking for you. For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q100.
An opposition MP in Guyana believes greater efforts are required to ensure the country's oil wealth and has a direct and positive impact on the lives of all Guyanese. HGP TV has that report.
With more money than we've ever had before, we have the opportunity to positively transform the life of every Guyanese.
That was Shadow Foreign Minister Amanza Walton-Nazir, who was at the time speaking with youths on our program Moving Forward. Her guests were Marlon Joseph, change and development advocate, Nashava Thompson, an aspiring psychologist, and Mandy Nicholson, president of G's Female Empowerment Society, who gave their take on how they see the oil wealth impacting the youths. Marlon Joseph opined that young people first must be able to dream big, go beyond the boundaries, and have a changed mindset.
Before we go into oil and gas, I think our mindsets should first change to think about development and growth.
Thompson believes that with the new opportunities arising in the oil and gas sector, there is a definite shift in aspirations for the younger generation. However, the older generation still needs to be included.
We have to shift how we think in order to go along with the development and the opportunities that are coming with this oil, before we can actually get there.
Meanwhile, Melody Nicholson urged youths to take full advantage of the new opportunities available in this sector.
It's a changing world and opportunities are getting there. There are more opportunities coming, and as years and decades come, there'll be greater and greater opportunities will get greater and greater.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says government continues to do what is necessary to address crime, noting that the key to collaboration and to dealing with crime is the opposition. TTT has that story.
He criticized the opposition for their stance in the previous parliamentary year for openly stating that they were not supporting any legislation brought by the government.
We've had people declare their position that they will not support anything that the government brings. And it's one thing to say that, but to act upon it is another thing. But we have a new president, it's a new parliament, there are new and worsening situations in the country which require parliament's intervention. And we at the level of the government, we will keep trying in the parliament to encourage our colleagues to put country first.
Questioned if he believes the opposition would change its stance in the coming year, Dr. Rowley said it is left to be seen.
When I saw today a member of parliament attempting to insult the president in the chamber while she's addressing the nation, I don't see that change.
Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has ordered a high-level probe into the attack of Nationwide News Network. Last Friday, employees at the media house were rattled after a gunman fired 3 shots in the parking lot of the entity. We hear more from TVJ.
The Prime Minister addressed the situation while speaking to party supporters in Old Harbour, St. Catherine.
We look at these things with grave concern. And I've asked the Commissioner of Police to thoroughly investigate this matter. It cannot be that in Jamaica today that there could be any violent attack on our press.
No one was injured in the gun attack. However, staff were left traumatized while 3 vehicles were damaged by bullets. In light of the incident, Mr. Holness has issued a charge to JLP members and supporters to be wary of what they say about the media.
We will sometimes express our disapproval, but we are always careful. And as much as this is a commentary, it is also a warning to my political party that we must, as a government, be careful how we act and how we speak in relation to the press and press freedom.
The crew of a Russian airliner are being hailed as heroes for miraculously emergency landing in a field in Serbia. All 165 passengers and crew were unharmed. We get more from Al Jazeera.
A narrow escape and an Airbus A320 in the middle of a Siberian field. The 165 passengers and crew had a nerve-wracking morning as the pilots realized they would not be able to land at their destination. Ural Airlines Flight 1383 took off from Sochi bound for Omsk, but mid-flight, the pilots declared an emergency. Hydraulic systems weren't responding, so they needed a longer runway than the one in Omsk.
Крыло 1383 понял. Сообщим Новосибирску, обеспечат вам посадку. Серег, что, серьезно? Да, гидравка зеленая вытекла полностью. Вонючий случай.
The stink didn't end there. With landing gear and brake problems, as well as strong headwinds, the pilots realized that heading to Novosibirsk wasn't going to work either.
The captain understood that there may not be enough fuel to reach Novosibirsk airport. On a plane, the captain is Lord of the Lords. The captain makes the decisions and bears the responsibility. He chose to land in a field with a chassis released, and he did it successfully.
The forced landing damaged the aircraft, but everyone escaped unscathed.
There was no panic, and the crew did everything to prevent casualties. I think they're true heroes.
And some passengers even said the landing felt softer than on a normal runway.
A state of emergency in eastern Libya. Widespread floods have killed thousands of people and left thousands more unaccounted for. Entire neighborhoods are underwater and trapped. Families desperately need help, but Libya's political divisions appear to be getting in the way. The country's two rival governments have their own resources and their own approach to this disaster. Without a united response, rescue operations have been inevitably delayed. More in this Al Jazeera report.
Overwhelming floods have swept through parts of eastern Libya, swamping roads, destroying buildings, and taking thousands of lives. Patients and medical staff were forced to evacuate several hospitals, with floodwaters trapping many people.
The situation is horrible. It's extremely sad. There are people suffering from the floods, and we haven't been able to reach them.
The hardest hit city is Derna, home to about 100,000 people. There's devastation as far as the eye can see. Two of the city's main dams collapsed, submerging much of the city and drowning residents.
3 bridges collapsed completely, causing water to spread into neighborhoods. Entire areas were moved to the sea, along with their residents.
Blocked roads and collapsed infrastructure have delayed rescue efforts. An official who visited the area says lifeless bodies can be seen everywhere. Libya's political divisions are complicating rescue efforts. The country has two rival governments split between East and West. They are each supported by different armed groups and foreign governments. Both sides are calling for aid and assistance.
All official bodies, especially Libya's central bank, should provide urgent financial support so those carrying out their work can go ahead with the reconstruction.
The number of reported victims, both dead and missing, vary depending on which government faction is asked.
Libya has to be rebuilt from scratch because we had 42 years of a dictatorship regime, never cares about this infrastructure. And now also after the revolution, the split, and also fighting for power make things worse.
In a country already struggling with political instability and poverty, this disaster adds another layer of anguish. And despite their differences, both governments agree the death toll in eastern Libya will likely rise significantly.
Time for us now to preview what's coming up on Barbados. Well, today on Let's Talk HR, we're looking at why CEOs are now saying that HR needs a reset. Plus, we are talking men's health as we get into the segment with Doc Talk. And we have a number of personality interviews that you absolutely do not want to miss. Plus, we are telling you more about the Values Education Conference coming up in Barbados in early October. That and so much more at 6:30. But next, we have more news, sports, and weather. Stay with us.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q 100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well,
Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley has clarified the issues surrounding the new national identification cards and urged Barbadians to go ahead and complete the process. She addressed the matter while accompanied by some of her cabinet colleagues, officials from the Transport Board, and the Barbados Association of Retired Persons. Trevor Thorpe was there.
The meeting was convened in the Edna-Bourne Committee Room of Parliament. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley told the media Barbados is doing well with the transition from the old ID cards to the new ones. She encouraged Barbadians who have not yet done so to complete the registration process.
We've had about 2 extensions already, and this afternoon we have agreed that we will extend that further from October 31st to January 31st, recognizing that we are doing well. We have over 220,000 Barbadians who have already registered. Most of them have picked up their cards. There's still a few who have to pick it up. With respect to the movement of persons on the Transport Board, we also agreed that persons will be allowed to use both their digital card as well as the old card.
The Prime Minister said bus terminals and post offices will be used to facilitate the process in the new arrangement that will be available from Monday to Saturday.
It will be available in the post offices, the 14 post offices. The initial date is between now and the end of October, but once again, Barbadians know that if there's a need to extend, we will extend. But what we're adding to the mix, and what most people perhaps are not aware, is that over the course of the last few months, we have been able to go to a number of senior citizens' homes and take the pictures for them in situ, in their home. And therefore, if we were able to do that, then we will also be able to do it with pinning for those who, for whatever reason, may not be able to make it.
And with regards to the pinning of ID cards, Prime Minister Motley noted that public transport is not only in the hands of government, but private individuals as well, and accuracy and accountability have become more critical as we move towards a cashless society.
The density of buses, if you recall, in the emergency management orders was reduced to 50%. But yet, the ridership goes from 1,373,059 in 2019 to 1,584,883 in 2020 to 1,965,995 in 2021, and then 2,205,801 in 2022. I accept 2022. But it is difficult for the officers who advise us to accept that the numbers increased at the very time that you place restrictions on movement to the whole country. But even before the whole country, who were you reporting that we were restricting and asking to stay home? It was the pensioners. And then when you add to that, that the actual PSVs and Transport Board buses could only carry 50% density because of COVID, these numbers defy rational understanding.
The Prime Minister said the National Identification Card will make transactions between government and public seamless. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Thanks, Trevor. Time to take a look at sports. Barbados are now rock bottom of Group B and League B in the CONCACAF Nations League after suffering their second loss of the 2023-2024 tournament. The senior men's team went crashing to a 5-1 defeat against hosts Nicaragua, which have retained the top spot with 6 points following their second victory. Trident's lone goal was via Thierry Gale, who converted a free kick into the 89th minute. Here are some of the highlights.
Breaks through, nodded through, and down, Smith strikes! Nicaragua has a goal in the first 10 minutes! Across the field, choices to be made here, long shot! Stretches the strings! Goes to the middle. Bodies collide. Penalty. Moreno to make it 3. Saved by Brathwaite. Second chance, Moreno. No mistakes this time.
Now, the Tridents, who also lost their open fixture of Group B against Montserrat 3-2 last Friday, will now look to improve when they play Dominican Republic at home on October 13th at the BFA headquarters here in Wilde. The Tridents will need a win if they're to keep their chances of staying in League B alive. Time now for us to take a look at the weather. The barometric pressure stands at 10.2 millibars is 27.6 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity is way up to 82%, and the winds are blowing out of the southeast at 17 kilometers per hour. Present temperature partly cloudy with slight haze. Sea conditions smooth to moderate in open water, with swells ranging from 1 to 2 meters and increasing. Here's a look at how the tides roll in today. General forecast for Barbados: mostly clear with a few brief isolated light showers. And into the evening period, here's what you can expect: mostly sunny conditions with a few brief isolated showers. That's the morning report. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations on 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. Thanks for viewing. Morning Barbados is next.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
You had a great day yesterday, and you had a restful evening, and you're ready and roaring to go for all that the new day brings. I most certainly had a very interesting day yesterday in town. You know how it is, getting ready for the back to school thing, and we all end up doing the back to school rush. I don't care how much you think that you're prepared, you're never prepared. So there's always a little something. You forget something, have to pick something up. So a special good morning to all the people who helped me out yesterday, who I got a chance to connect with as well as I made my way through Bridgetown and tried to get a little something in. Thanks to those of you who are following us online. Remember, you can call up your relatives and friends and let them know that we also stream on YouTube as well as on Facebook, so they can get in on the Morning Barbados action and find out what's happening here in Barbados and indeed across the world. And of course, check in with us and let us know what's happening with them. So on today's show, we have lots planned for you. And I'm hoping you can stick around for just a little bit. We are still winning with the little ones, asking you if you are back to school ready. All you have to do is say yes, because you are. And we're going to give you an opportunity to win, and win big. You're going to win not only, you get a chance to win a headset, but also a tablet and a printer just by answering 3 very simple questions. Your name will go into that pool for a chance to win. So make sure you listen into that. Today we're back with the segment Let's Talk HR, and this is going to be a very interesting discussion, because today with Francis Wade, who is into management consultancy, we're going to be talking about why CEOs say that HR needs a reset. I don't know what your thoughts are, but you can gather your thoughts and think about how your HR departments work, or if you're in human resources, whether you yourself feel like it needs a reset. So that will be a very, very interesting discussion for us to have coming up, of course, today as we look at that. And of course, we're talking about men's health as well, as we often do. So we look forward to welcoming the good doctor to come on in. Of course, Dr. Paul Rouse usually talks to us about men's health. We're going to be taking a look at that too. Now, today is International Chocolate Day. And I know there are a lot of people who really, really love chocolate. International Chocolate Day is a holiday that's observed around the world. Today, September 13th. And it is dedicated to that sweet confection that lots of people love. So chocolate lovers enjoy milk or dark chocolate, baked, semi-sweet, sweet, and love chocolate milkshakes and chocolate cakes and ice cream and all that other stuff, chocolate sauce. I'm not really a big chocolate person, which is weird. I don't know. When I tell people that, they're like, really? Is there a woman who's not big on chocolate? I don't know. I have a sister who loves chocolate, though. Hey, Jackie. She can't run away from it. Yeah, so very, very interesting stuff. So we definitely have to look at the chocolate intake, though. Go for the dark chocolate if you're going to choose some chocolate. No shade in that, people. Dark chocolate. Yeah, they say it's the healthier option. All right, so we definitely wanted to talk to you about something important that's coming up pretty soon. And we've gotten lots and lots of calls about this. It's something called Strengthening Values Education. It's a conference that is coming up soon. And there's been so much about it that we want to be able to share a whole lot more with it. So we're going to tell you more about that. The conference is coming up from the 12th to the 14th of October. So we're going to share a lot more about that with you on today's show as well. The concepts behind strengthening values education, they're very, very engaging. So if you've not thought about it or heard about it, I'd like you to at least go read up about it so that once we get to that interview, you can understand what's happening a whole lot more with that. So we have two very beautiful people joining me on set. You know, I love company. Usually I'm sitting here by myself. Not today. I'm lucky, joined by two beautiful ladies. Dr. Dion Graves, who is business elevation strategist, entrepreneurship, transition coach, and founder and CEO of the Mompreneur. Yes. And Dr. Nikita Davis, PR guru and publisher, CEO and founder, Jesus Coffee and Prayer Christian Publishing House and Women Win Network.
Yes.
So good morning.
Good morning, Tisha. Good morning, Queen.
Good to have you with us. Beautiful titles, first of all, for beautiful ladies. So you ladies recently held an empowerment conference for women all across the nation. It was called Glow Up. And it was very, very interesting. I heard all about it. So let me start with you, Dr. Graves. Tell me all about the conference and why it came to be from the outset. Why did you think at this time, I need a conference for women to help them glow up?
So the conference was not part of my original plan. Usually I host a retreat called Glow Global Luxurious Island Retreat, and this was our second year, and we had all of these amazing speakers from the US, St. Vincent, and the UK who were going to be speaking, and I decided let's do a conference where we can empower women to glow up, and simply glowing up is to level up your life. If you're looking to excel in your purpose, if you're looking to launch a business or even grow and expand your business, I wanted to be able to give women that opportunity because my heart is to serve women, specifically moms in business or moms who are looking to launch businesses. And so this was part of a give back initiative for me for Barbados because I've been doing this for the past 3 years in the online space. I've been having great success, and so I wanted to be able to empower, to inspire, and to uplift women in that direction.
All right, Dr. Davis, here you are with a book, Women Win Network. Talk to me about what we're looking at.
Listen, well, first of all, so excited to be here with you. You look just as fabulous, and with the chocolate, we'll have to talk about that. But Women Win Network, I'm the CEO and founder. What we do is we celebrate women who win 365. It is my way of life. I believe it is my divine purpose to elevate God's daughters. And I do that through the magazine publication, our television network, which is broadcasted to over 100 million homes across the globe. Dr. Dion is actually my right-hand woman. She's my VP for the Women Win Network and Jesus Coffee and Prayer. So it made sense for me to be a part of Glow Up to inspire women as well.
Fantastic. Tell me about how it got started. Of course, you told us, Dr. Dion, about how important it was for you to empower women, and that's what really drove you to go there, help women entrepreneurs as mothers and so on. Is your story a little different?
Well, you know, I want to believe that as a child in my youth, I've always believed in the underdog, right? I was always that kid that no matter how well I did, I wanted to see everybody win. And I just feel like this is a perfect time that the Lord placed on my heart to have the Women Win Network, which has been around. We just celebrated our 2-year anniversary just a couple months ago. But to really help women to level up in this season, they can be and do anything that they desire. There's no dream that is dead or forgotten or unseen that they can't bring to pass. And so what my company does is try to elevate them through the reputable media, through opportunities where they can speak globally in the US, right? And where they can have access granted opportunities. So for me, I'd say it started in childhood, just always having the spirit of wanting to see people win. And specifically, God placed his daughters on my heart. And so that's what we do 365.
Wow, what's it like transitioning, Dr. Dion, from the online space to, you know, the physical space? I think for us, we were so accustomed to connecting generally, and then we were kind of forced into a situation where you had to connect online. But now it's a bit difficult. It can be a bit difficult to kind of retransition. So what's it like maybe operating in both spaces, and what are your thoughts on, you know, going between the two? Is there a preference?
No, I actually love both experiences because each experience offers something different. So there are stages that I've been able to ignite without having to physically travel where it was impossible. Okay. So next week I'll be in London, igniting the stage in London as a keynote speaker as well. But I love the in-person because you get to connect with these people. These women who came into that room on Saturday, it was a touch point for them. It was a point of transformation. People were ignited, their dreams were lit on fire, and they were ready to go. People have been reaching out since then and talking about the level of impact that they felt because there was a genuine connection. And there's something about being able to create a safe space, especially for women who are always sacrificing so many things for everybody else, to be able to be part of that. So I love doing the in-person events. The transition for me, it goes with the territory, so I can do both. I have no preference, but seeing and connecting with those women in person, it is priceless.
Are there specific women we're targeting? Because we mentioned mothers, we mentioned women who you're trying to encourage to kind of move away from maybe a mindset of having full-time employment to starting their own businesses. So making that what you call a big leap.
Yes.
And
yes.
going. And then, you know, so is there an age range, or are you reaching out to all women? Because we know as women in your teens, it's different from 20s, it's different from your 30s. So the needs change as you certainly go through your life.
So my sweet spot is 35 to 44.
All right.
But I have worked with women outside of those brackets. One of my oldest clients was actually 58. So there are women, and age is just a number, but my sweet spot is really the 35 to 44, because at that stage you are more settled, you kind of know what you want, and you're not trying to fumble, you just need the strategy. And so most of the women that I work with, they already have things together, they just need the direction and the exact steps they need to take for execution. And so those are the women that I specifically target.
All right, wonderful stuff. Now we're talking to two very accomplished ladies, but Dr. Davis, for you say that you are unapologetically a hashtag Jesus girl.
Yes.
I want you to qualify that for me.
Absolutely. Well, let's be clear. I love everybody because the Bible tells me I got to do that, right? And I do. You guys make it hard sometimes. But honestly, that's always been my foundation. When I think about, again, to my youth, my parents, both my mother and father biological, you know, he passed away when I was 11. My mother passed away when I was 23. So by the time I was 23, both my mother and father were gone. But before they left this earth, they left the foundation of Christ in my life. They worked very hard. They were both janitors, right? My sister and I would go and help them to clean buildings after school. And so when I think about where God has taken me, and you know, you have the bio there, but he's blessed me in many, many ways. I know that I can't do it on my own strength. I can only do a certain amount of things on my own. I have to have him with me because this life of entrepreneurship is not easy. It is not for the faint of heart. I've been in business for 5 years, full-time for almost 4 years, right? So right before the pandemic, that is when I took the big leap, right? Before the pandemic, not because of the pandemic, right? And so it's not easy, and especially when you're walking in your purpose. So yes, I have my husband who I love dearly. He's very supportive. He's home right now in Atlanta watching our children, our 2 children. My daughter, she's 15, she's an entrepreneur. I've got to let them know what the foundation is, and that's Christ. Am I perfect? Of course not, but I serve a perfect God. Again, everybody can have their own preference, but as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, and that's just what it is.
So what do you think helped to ignite this fire, so to speak, in you, so that you wanted to come into your purpose and not only live your best life, glow up, be your true self, all these fantastic things we were talking about, but bring people along?
Oh, absolutely. It's a combination, right? Again, going back, I always go back to my youth, and I share this with audiences and the women that I do business with, my PR clients and those who are in the magazine and the television. But my mother always told me that I could be and do anything I put my mind to, despite our physical circumstances. We lived in the ghettos or the hoods, I'm not sure what they call it here in Barbados. But
all of the above.
Okay, the PJs, right? So listen, that's where we lived, and so that's what we heard and saw, gunshots in the middle of the night. We just knew to hit the floor. But my mother told me I could be, and so I became. You understand? And so I understand everybody doesn't have that same level of support or didn't grow up with that. So if I can be a piece of that to them, to encourage them to soar. I'm not saying everybody has to quit their 9 to 5. I get it. If you love what you do, you're walking in your purpose, they're treating you fairly, you're being paid as you should be, right? And there's opportunity for growth, then soar in that. But if you know that season, that boat has sailed, then come see me. I can help you with your business in regards to getting it the attention, the visibility, authority, and credibility it needs through PR, media marketing, and books, right? Dr. D and I both have our Black, Bold, and Beautiful, which is our latest edition right here that we just dropped at the beginning of August. We actually released it on National Sisters Day. It went #1 in the US and the UK and several other places. We took 31 spots across the globe for Amazon bestseller, and the book just had a book launch here in Barbados and in St. Martin, right? And so God is good, he's moving. I bring people with me because I can. I tell my queens all the time, if somebody wants you to win, they open the door. And the last thing I'll say to that, Dr. Dion is headed to London, super duper proud of her. She's like my right hand, we do this thing together. But I'll be headed to New York as soon as we leave and wrap up here today, headed for a private invite event with Forbes. So I do a lot of work where I get those types of opportunities, but I don't go alone. One of my clients is flying in, Sheba Robinson. She's a phenomenal real estate agent in Atlanta, and she'll be joining me because she sees the value of getting in divine rooms. So when I go through a door, it's just for me to take the hinges off and bring as many people who are serious, ready with me.
All right, that's good stuff. Tell me how you got here. I know on a plane, but then we have connected from Barbados.
Well, I'll let you share a little snippet of our connection, because it'll be quicker probably with you.
It definitely will be.
Oh, I'll get you later. Go ahead.
In 2021, I was roped into a book project for which Dr. Nikita was publishing. I knew I always wanted to write a book, but I didn't think about doing it at that point. But I got drafted into this project, met Dr. Nikita, and I thought, she's amazing. She's been doing some amazing things, but she was authentic. And so I would have followed her journey after the book project would have finished, and she started to connect, and we started to both connect with each other, and there was just this synergy. So last year when I was hosting my first empowerment conference in Barbados for Women's International Month, she actually came into the island as my keynote speaker, and we are stuck together like
for
glue. Life. It just went from one stage to another. So we've been like this now for just over a year, but the dynamic is just phenomenal. I joined her team as a chief executive assistant, and then when we were at Forbes in Detroit last year, she announced that I would be her vice president, and so I stepped into that role, all the while running my business, the Mompreneur CEO. So I'm not working for her, we're partnering, we're collaborating, we do some amazing things together, but I'm still running my own business, the Mompreneur CEO. And so every time I have something, she's here to support me, and vice versa. We've been to Mexico, we've been to Miami, we've been to Atlanta, we're headed to Ohio in October for Forbes, and we're doing some amazing things together and just dominating and bringing every woman who wants to be a part of this with us.
All right, absolutely. Hey, we're going to take a break and come back and speak with these amazing ladies some more after this break. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Enjoy Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
98.1 to 1 is more than a station.
We don't just play music, we keep you company, cheer you up, keep you informed and entertained. We are a vibe. What do you mean?
Every day we bring the party to you.
We are your #1 party station.
We love playing music for our listeners.
And we're committed to working with our clients and advertisers to make sure that you get the attention that you deserve.
98.1 The One.
Celebrating 18 and still your #1 party station.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, 8 minutes to go before the 7 o'clock hour. Don't forget, we're still taking you back to school, so you have a chance to win. Get the little ones ages 8 to 15 close to the telephone lines, because when we tell them that they can call for a chance to win. So we're sitting in with Dr. Dion Graves and Dr. Nikita Davis, and they are talking about how they're making waves, not only here in Barbados and across the U.S., but indeed across the world. Two ladies, beautiful ladies, who are absolutely winning, and they want to make sure that other women win as well.
Yes.
So I mean, that's a fantastic place to be in, and we don't often see that. I don't know if it's peculiar to this part of the world, or I don't think it's a complexion thing. It most certainly is not a race thing. It's not a gender thing. We see it so much these days. People not supporting each other. You know what made the switch in you? What made all the difference? What made you want to say, listen, this is what I want to do. This is within my wheelhouse, and this is what I want. I want to bring other people along.
I wanted to be able to give the support that I did not have in my journey. I do believe that as women, from as young as we are, we need that level of support. I do believe that the older women, and I'm not calling myself old or any of us old, I believe that older women should teach the younger women, because there are a lot of things that we could avoid, a lot of pitfalls we could avoid if we have the right support. And so I wanted to be that source of support for many women, not just in Barbados, but right across the globe. And I do understand that the mission for me is global. And so I wanted to be able to share not only my knowledge, my skills and expertise, but I wanted to be able to evoke the best in them. There's so many women out here, and I came from corporate. I took the big leap last October, and it has been the best thing that I've done to date. But there's so many women out here who's let their dreams die because of becoming mothers, pursuing education, careers, so many different things. And so I wanted to be that support for them so that they can know, hey, you can get this done, because everybody asks, but how do you do all of this? Your wife, your mom, you were in corporate, you were building ministry with your husband, you're doing all of these things, you travel, how do you do it all? But if you have the right support, and the beautiful thing is I have my corner squad here, and so once you have that support, once you have your tribe, you can move mountains. You become unstoppable. And so each of the women that I serve, even over this weekend, I've seen some tremendous growth in their lives because of having that safe space and that support. So that is my heart, to give the support that I did not have along my journey.
Oh, that's truly excellent. Now, for you, Dr. Davis, talk to me about the leap to writing, because it's one thing. I know for me, I tell people that from very young I loved journaling, but I don't think I'd be ever able to share all those, you know, what I'm writing in there. I don't think people want to see that.
Yes, they do.
No, and I don't want people to see that. I certainly am not at that place. So a lot of what you ladies share, you say it comes from life experience and from what has happened. What's it like to get this stuff down on paper and then be able to say, I'm opening my life, I'm opening my heart, I'm opening my world to the world, for them to in turn learn from my pitfalls, my errors?
Yeah, well, I'll definitely say, again, I know there's a common theme of me saying in my youth, but it's true. I always knew that I wanted to write a book. I mean, I loved reading when I was a kid. Reading and writing was my jam. I share this frequently on different stages, but my mom would come in the room and say, okay, it's time to go to bed. You got school in the morning, cut off the lights. And I'd be like, okay, Mom. And as soon I make voices, don't worry. But as soon as she would do that, I would get the flashlight and up under my covers and cut on the flashlight, reading a book, right? So I always loved to read. And in school, I love writing the essays. I love poetry. I too love journaling. If you looked at my house, it's too many journals to count, right? But I always knew that that was a path for me. But like most women, when I got into corporate, because I was in the corporate field for nearly 15 years in leadership, development, sales, traveling all over the U.S. and internationally abroad, building award-winning teams and helping the organization to make multi-millions of dollars. And when I became pregnant with my husband and I's second child, it's like he brought that vision back to me. And when I say he, I mean God brought the vision back to me to write the book. So literally, while I was about 6-7 months pregnant, I began to write my book, right? That I knew from when I was a kid. So I share that to say, because I had a literal pregnant pause, like literally I was pregnant, a pregnant pause, I began to journal again and write. And I said, I'm going to complete this book. And shortly after my son was born, I was done with the book. Within 6 months, the book was out. The vision was never to publish for other people. It was really for me, like, wow, I'm being obedient to what God told me to do when I was a kid. But that morphed into now I'm a 24-time best-selling author, 11-time international best-selling author, and I've literally helped 300 plus women around the world, from Africa to the UK to Barbados to other islands in the Caribbean, East Coast to West Coast, to become best-selling and international best-selling authors too, sharing their story. The vulnerability part is the freeing part, right? Because many times the women have gone through some emotional things, right? You know, I've had women who have gone through tremendous things that have really broken their spirit, but with faith and by never giving up, they're willing to share their voice to help another queen. And that's what I love. That's what I mean when I say women win. So even though I have two global companies, Jesus Coffee and Prayer is the publishing and Women Win is the magazine, the synergy is there, right? That's how you help another queen win. You share your voice. Your voice matters. What you say matters. And you're building a legacy and building wealth at the same time. These books will never die. I might be gone no time soon, but my books will be here and another queen can pick it up and be encouraged and win.
Excellent. That's beautiful stuff. How do we connect with you? Outside of this, I know you said you're heading off soon to go share some more inspiration around the world, but because we now have this strong online presence, the hybrid approach, you know, I would imagine that you're connecting a lot online as well. So tell us where we can find you.
Most definitely. So you can find me at the Mompreneur CEO on Instagram. And if you go to Facebook, you can find my business page, the Mompreneur CEO, as well as the Mompreneur CEO show page. And you can find me personally at Dr. Dion Graves on Facebook.
What about you?
Absolutely. So please follow me at Jesus Coffee and Prayer. That's Jesus Coffee and Prayer on Instagram, on Facebook. You can follow Women Win Network, Women Win Network on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow me if you would like on Facebook on my personal page at Dr. Nikita Davis. You also can visit my website at www.jesuscoffeeandprayer.com.
Well, I could see the Jesus and prayer coming in, but you ladies showed up no coffee.
No, ma'am, my coffee's right over there. I had some and it's on the other side. Look, I'm serious about my coffee.
I don't drink
short with any coffee for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Listen. That's okay, but it's been beautiful talking with you. I most certainly hope this is the beginning of a conversation where we can delve a little deeper into what you do and how we can help young women along. I mean, there are so many challenges, as you mentioned, that women who have lived through certain things can be able to help some younger women with, and those intergenerational conversations definitely need to be had. You're definitely two ladies to watch for now and the future, and I wish you every success in, you know, wherever you go and whatever you do. Make sure you check in with us and let us know how things are going so that we can in turn share all the beautiful things that are happening for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, Dr. Dion Graves, business elevation strategist, entrepreneur, transition coach, and founder and CEO of the Mompreneur. CEO, the Mompreneur. You can find them online at Instagram. And Dr. Nikita Davis, PR guru and publisher, CEO and founder, Jesus Coffee and Prayer Christian Publishing House, and Women Win Network. Make sure you check them out online. All right. Hey, it's just about 1 minute or so after 7 o'clock. We have an update of the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's Wednesday, September 13th, time for an update of the news. Well, Prime Minister Mia Mormottley has clarified the issues surrounding the new national identification cards and urged Barbados to go ahead and complete the process. She addressed the matter while accompanied by some of her cabinet colleagues, officials from the Transport Board, and the Barbados Association of Retired Persons, or BARP. Trevor Thorpe was there.
The meeting was convened in the Edna Committee Room of Parliament. Prime Minister Mia Mormottley told the media Barbados is doing well with the transition from the old ID cards to the new ones. She encouraged Barbadians who have not yet done so to complete the registration process.
We've had about 2 extensions already, and this afternoon we have agreed that we will extend that further from October 31st to January 31st, recognizing that we are doing well. We have over 220,000 Barbadians who have already registered. Most of them have picked up their cards. There's still a few who have to pick it up. With respect to the movement of persons on the Transport Board, we also agreed that persons will be allowed to use both their digital card as well as the old card.
The Prime Minister said bus terminals and post offices will be used to facilitate the process in the new arrangement that will be available from Monday to Saturday.
It will be available in the post offices, the 14 post offices. The initial date is between now and the end of October, but once again, Barbadians know that if there's a need to extend, we will extend. But what we're adding to the mix, and what most people perhaps are not aware, is that over the course of the last few months, we have been able to go to a number of senior citizens' homes and take the pictures for them in situ, in their home. And therefore, if we were able to do that, then we will also be able to do it with pinning for those who, for whatever reason, may not be able to make it.
And with regards to the pinning of ID cards, Prime Minister Mortley noted that public transport is not only in the hands of government, but private individuals as well, and accuracy and accountability have become more critical as we move towards a cashless society.
The density of buses, if you recall, in the emergency management orders was reduced to 50%. But yet, the ridership goes from 1,373,059 in 2019 to 1,584,883 in 2020 to 1,965,995 in 2021 and then 2,205,801 in 2022. I accept 2022. But it is difficult for the officers who advise us to accept that the numbers increased at the very time that you place restrictions on movement to the whole country. But even before the whole country, who were you reporting that we were restricting and asking to stay home? It was the pensioners. And then when you add to that the actual PSVs and transport board buses could only carry 50% density because of COVID, these numbers defy rational understanding.
The Prime Minister said the National Identification Card will make transactions between government and public seamless. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
A significant contribution to an important program offered by the Autism Association of Barbados. It is providing some 836.5 square meters of land through a lease agreement to the association for its basic life skills program. Located within historic Bridgetown and its garrison, the site housed the annex for the Caribbean Examinations Council, but has not been in use for a number of years. Senior Minister in the Prime Minister's office, Dr. William Duguid, says a proposal was made by the Autism Association back in 2021. During debate on a resolution in the lower house, he saluted the work of such charitable organizations, noting that he has seen the benefits of their programs.
Through training and persistence in getting those children to a higher level, by keeping at them and keeping them training, can transform and make those children better able to take care of themselves. May not be to the extent that another person would, but certainly improve the ability for them to handle themselves. So this life skills is vitally important, and a place to teach these life skills to children with autism as just as important as ever, so that we can give every single person a chance and leave no person behind in this society.
Well, that's it for the update of news. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations, 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. We're going to take a break and come back with more Morning Barbados. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love cruise.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
You know why? It's summer vacation and CBC TV.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, it's 10 minutes after 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us for Morning Barbados on this beautiful morning. I don't know if you've had your morning coffee already or tea. I don't know what your routine is. A lot of Bajans never used to really like breakfast. They would say, just have a cup of tea, a few biscuits, but usually nothing heavy. I know that has changed, so I don't know what your morning routine is. But most certainly, if you're heading out to work, we hope that we can help get you there on time. So it's time to talk HR, and this morning, Francis Wade is joining us, management consultant, and we're taking a look at why CEOs say HR needs a reset. Good morning and welcome.
Morning. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Right. Good to have you with us. Now, we hear so much about what's happening with HR, particularly with businesses. I mean, the world is in transition, especially when we think about what's happening technologically and otherwise. There are a lot of people who might feel as though the human function is under threat. But what we know is there can be synergies when it comes to how we can work in tandem with the developments in generative AI, for example, through platforms like ChatGPT and others. But what are we doing in HR that we need to do better, improve, or change to be able to truly make our environment what it needs to be? Are CEOs truly saying that there needs to be an HR reset, and why?
Something interesting has happened. HR, as you probably know, as we all know, was in hand during the pandemic. And you might say this was HR's finest hour, because at a time when people's livelihood and well-being was under threat, HR stepped up and addressed the issue around the world. Very quickly had to adapt and move people in, move people out, make people feel comfortable, create a remote culture. And for the up to the 2020 to 2022, HR is, as I said, it was HR's finest hour. But something interesting has happened since then, and it actually picks up on some trends that happened before, which is that CEOs have traditionally and for a long time complained that HR isn't strategic enough. And that's been a long time complaint. It went away during COVID because everyone went to emergency mode. But the fact is, the underlying complaint that HR doesn't address strategy at a deep enough level, it has returned, and the problem remains. So it's a problem that you might say originates in the C-suites, in the leadership ranks, and it's one that in the Caribbean, here, well, I host Caribbean HR Forum, and we've done this for the last 20 years, a regional group of HR professionals, and we've seen it happening for the last couple of decades at least.
Well, that definitely is a lot. So what are some of the areas that we need to have HR practitioners improve on, our HR departments to look at strategically to be able to really get in tune to where they need to be to grow?
Sure. Well, I could share my personal observation, which is in my own business framework consulting. We do management consulting, and we focus on strategic plans. And we've been working with executive teams, different parts of the world, mostly in the Caribbean, for the last couple of decades. And HR, in the very beginning, the big push was to get HR at the table. So HR wasn't even in the most important conversations regarding the future of the company. So that's changed. It's been, a long time since I've ever had to complain that HR needs to be at the table, because HR is now a part of those high-level conversations. The challenge is HR, compared to the other departments, isn't equipped, hasn't been equipped, doesn't show up the way the other departments show up. So compared to finance, compared to marketing, compared to sales, operations, HR doesn't show up at the same level. And that's showing up in the surveys that have been done of CEOs and other C-suiters. They agree that HR isn't strategic enough, and HR needs to do analytics in order to step up to the level that the other departments are at.
Wow. Now, let's talk specifically about what the heads of the companies are saying, because we want to tailor this conversation to what CEOs, what the leaders of the companies, how they feel about the HR departments, HR practitioners, and what they're doing. So, talk about the gaps and talk about where we need to fill the gaps to be able to get top-level management in line with what's happening in our HR departments.
Sure. Well, it's actually the other way around, is to get the departments in line with what the C-suites are looking for. But here's an interesting fact. 20 years ago, there was no such thing as a CFO. 25 years ago, back in maybe a little more than 25, but in the 70s, there was no such thing as a chief financial officer. There were just accountants. And what the accountants did, keepers did, was that they systematically upgraded their profession to the point where a CFO in most companies is not even second to the CEO. Many companies, they're actually at the same level. And in some companies, the board prefers to talk to the CFO rather than the CEO because they're the ones who deal with the numbers. So what happened over that time is that the accountants picked up technology, they picked up analytic tools, and they wove them into the way that they were doing their operations to the point where it changed the way they did their work, up-leveled the way they performed their function, to the point where the CFO title was created by them for them. And now CFOs are seen as in this exalted position. Unfortunately, it's exactly the opposite. There are very, very few single numbers of HR professionals who make it to the CEO position. Whereas the opposite is true for CFOs today, which is that in the UK, for example, some 42% of CFOs or CEOs have a CFO background. So if we could get HR to copy what the accountants did, picking up technology and picking up especially analytics and speaking that language, we believe that that reset could take HR to the level where HR could become CEOs in the future.
Are we seeing that change in the HR professionals, or what do you think needs to shift for them to be able to think in that way and bring the rest of the company along?
Well, this brings us to what we're doing at Caribbean HR Forum. So last year we had an HR analytics conference, and it was the first of its kind. It was a 3-day conference to bring these tools with using data, analyzing data, presenting data, telling stories in ways that a C-suite or a member of the C-suite would appreciate and understand. So we did the HR analytics conference last year, and while it had had an impact and made a difference, excuse me, what we noticed is that the HR professionals who attended wanted more, and they wanted to be able to take more back to their companies. So in other words, take a new language, a new way of thinking, a new way of using tools. So what we decided to do was, instead of offering a traditional conference, was to do a non-conference, you might say, a series of conference meetings, webinars, trainings between and February. And that way we could give HR professionals the immersion that's needed to be able to make this shift. And the kind of shift we really want to see is that the CFO, CMO, and the other C-suite of HR and say, you know, something is different. What are you guys doing? Something has shifted, but I can't quite put my finger on it, and I can't quite explain it. But you're doing some things differently, but you sound different. But to achieve that, we kind of need to do this immersion over several months, and that's really what we're focusing on.
All right, so let's kind of close the circle and bring everybody else along for this ride, even apart from the HR professionals. So are we saying that there needs to be more inclusion of technology? And how does that really pare down to what they're doing at the very core, which is looking at the human side of things? You know, we've definitely seen that shift over the years from where they used to call it personnel to human resources. Now it's talent acquisition and talent development and, you know, a host of other things. So what is it we're doing? Incorporating more technology or taking technology out of it so much?
More data. See, an HR professional might be excellent at working with individuals in the company and having conversations, in relating to staff one-on-one, resolving issues, training. But when the transition comes and the person must go to the C-suite, they need to now talk in terms of numbers and data. So it's not so much technology, because you could sell on paper. It's really around data. It means gathering data, analyzing it, and presenting it in a way to the higher echelons of the company, to the C-suite, to the CEO, CFO, so that they can understand the numbers and what they're telling them. Today, that story isn't being told enough. So when, for example, in a strategic planning retreat, each department presents its kind of wish list, the CFO presents his wish list, the operations person presents his, the other chiefs present their cases, when the HR case is presented, what we've seen is that there's no numbers. And when there's no numbers, they don't get the funding that's needed. So the people element of the business, the people angle, people become underinvested. It showed up during COVID, and it's continuing to show up after COVID. That underinvestment comes from a lack of numbers being presented at that level.
All right, so we're telling HR professionals, bring your empirical data. You need to come with your data, make sure that you have all the data you need to substantiate what you're asking for the development of the employees and the company at large. Thank you so much, Francis Wade, management consultant. Always great to see you. Wonderful conversation, lots of food for thought. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for your time.
You too. All the best. Take care, Barbados.
Thank you. Lots to think about today. Hey, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we are continuing to talk education, but in a different way. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's summer vacation, and CBC TV8 says laugh a little. Your mid-mornings have now included some family-friendly, side-splitting series like The Partridge Family, Benson, and Designing Women. TV not to be missed this vacation. Weekdays from 10 a.m. on CBC TV8. It's Match Day Live from the 246 with host Damian Best. Your all-access pass to the action happening in the BFA Premier League and beyond. Every last Monday of the month on CBC TV8. Kickoff time, 8:30 p.m. with analysis from our panel and highlights of the top performances. You can weigh in on the discussion via WhatsApp on 228-5562. It's
morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, welcome back to Morning Barbados. It's midweek. So lots going on. It's very, very hot outside. Make sure you're prepared for that weather. Trust me, particularly if you're going to be out in the bright sunshine. Now, we heard in the last few days that there was the launch of a technical degree program by the TVET Council in collaboration with the Barbados Community College, and it's coming in October 2023. That's just one of some very amazing things that will be happening through the TVET Council and a number of other agencies working along with them and organizations. Hey, let's welcome Leah Howell, who is communications consultant with the TVET Council, Raquel Thompson, floor member of the Barbados Institute of Architects Executive Council, and Vincent Jones, who's the second vice president of the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers, as well as Omar Mohammed, architectural account executive for the Amdon area at Sherwin-Williams. The Caribbean area at Sherwin-Williams, who they're all a part of it. And we're telling you a little bit more about the TVET Council and some upcoming training activities. Good morning. It's a full house. Welcome.
Good morning.
All right, I'm going to start with you, Leah, for you to set the tone for us as to all of the fantastic things that we have to be happy about that are happening with the TVET Council.
Well, we have a tremendous amount of things to be happy about and excited for going on at the TVET Council. What we're really here to talk about today is the Barbados second annual Construction and Design Conference that's coming up on September 19th and going all the way until September 21st. We are at the TVET Council all about continuing professional development and creating a world-class workforce. And we're doing that with people in the construction and design industry this year through our conference. This is the place that if you work in this industry and you want to learn more about technology, more about trends in the industry and how to really build wellness into the built environment in Barbados and across the world, this is where you can learn about it. And we encourage everyone that works in the industry, from project managers to interior designers to students who are studying architecture and engineers, everyone who even may be interested to come out.
All right, very interesting stuff. Let's start now with second vice president of the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers, you, Vincent Jones, because I know for a long time you have been talking truly about the built environment, and there is a building code, but it's kind of suggested. So there are some areas that you gentlemen, your organization would like to see some movement on that you will be sharing in, I would imagine. But talk to us generally about the work that you do and how important it is to how Barbados, apart from how Barbados looks, how Barbados will be able to grow and develop through the years, and why it's so important to be able to bring other people along in this technical area.
Good morning, Keisha. Thank you for having me this morning. The Barbados Association of Professional Engineers have indeed been encouraging our members and persons within the built environment to upgrade their skills and remain current in everything they do. This conference gives our members an opportunity to come out and certainly avail themselves of continuous professional development training. And the focus this year that we will be dealing with is in wellness. And we have heard issues throughout our built fabric in Barbados with internal air quality issues, which have plagued many buildings, school buildings, etc., over time. So it's important for us to understand how, when we design the built environment or when we renovate the built environment, how best we can do that to make sure that we maintain or create healthy spaces for our people to be able to work and interact with. So the conference touches on that as well as many other issues, and we really want to encourage professionals in the built environment to avail themselves of the information that will be available.
Ms. Thompson, you're representing the Barbados Institute of Architects Executive Council. So talk to us about what you're hoping, will come to the fore, and you're able to kind of ventilate, no pun intended, but most certainly be able to share with other professionals generally in the area through this conference.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, and good morning, Barbados. I think that we are definitely excited about whatever continuing education that we can attain. Is definitely important for us as professionals to make sure that we are on top of the leading technology that is coming up in the industry, to definitely make sure that we're able to present the best service to our clients. So we're definitely excited about whatever we can gain from this conference. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about sustainability and renewable energy. Those are all hot topics. Definitely safety and health. Obviously, we talked about the sick building syndrome. We're talking about construction and funding. So there's information that we're definitely interested in attaining at the conference. That, coupled with being able to network with other professionals in the industry, not only architecture, but in the construction industry as a whole.
Very interesting. And I think having you, Mr. Mohammed, kind of closes the circle when we talk about how important it is for partners to come in on things like this, because when we talk to the people who are a part of the technical and building and design side of things, then we have to come in and talk to the people who are helping to make these projects happen as well. So as the representative for Sherwin-Williams, and having worked myself specifically in paint manufacturing many moons ago, I know specifically the importance of the research and so on that is done at companies like Sherwin-Williams to be able to help make this happen when we're talking about buildings and treating to conditions that might be present with the buildings and things of that nature. So it must be wonderful for you and your company to be a part of this conference as well.
Oh yes, good morning, Keisha, and good morning, everyone, and Barbados. Yeah, a number of points were made during this interview that we're having this morning. Indoor air quality, sustainability. Those are, as I told Leah previously in our conversations, that's something that's in our DNA at Sherwin-Williams, being one of the leaders of our industry and at the forefront of research and development. it's something that we live by and talk about each day. And Sherwin-Williams is certainly extremely enthused about this conference. It's remarkable that the concept is actually part of a national focus to lift the standards of the industry to what is accepted worldwide. And Sherwin-Williams is hoping to bring that element, not hoping, but will bring that element to the conference. And we're really hoping to see a really good turnout so that people can see the latest in coating technology. Indoor air quality is
Oh dear, we're having some challenges here with Mr. Mohammed, and we're certainly going to hope to get him back on soon, but he was making some very interesting points. Very, very important. Let me see if we have him back on the line. Are you there? There you go. Okay.
Yes, I'm back. Yeah. Sorry about that. Looks like we have issues with the connection, seeing that I'm not in Barbados. But I'll be there next week at the conference.
Okay.
And as I was saying, just before we got interrupted, the VOC content in the indoor environment is a major concern. Indoor air quality. I don't know if you know, but studies have shown by the time we reach the age of 70, we would have spent 60 years of our life indoors. And with technology as it is nowadays, we're spending even more and more time indoors. So that is something that's a major focus for us. And also the innovation of new technologies that have taken us from what we have known into the hybrids of the coating industry. And these are all things that we'll be showcasing at the conference. As I said earlier, I think this is a great initiative. It's something that it's driven by the government. It's actually, a focus to raise the level of and the standards in the construction industry in Barbados. And I also see that Trinidad is involved as well from the Architectural Institute here, and Jamaica. So this is a great starting point. I think in years to come it will grow, and we can actually have the region involved in this effort.
All right, that's excellent. Miss Howell, let's talk now about the conference itself. I started off by talking about all the fantastic things that are most certainly happening in technical areas to be able to bring the entire community along, because as you all said, we can look at the technical side of things, but really the buildings you're building are not just that are being built are not just to be there with air flowing through them. They're for people. So that's what makes all the difference. So let's talk about the conference. Who are the people being targeted with this conference? Who will be the ideal people to participate and how they can participate in this conference?
Well, the ideal person that's coming to this conference is somebody that works in the construction and design industry. People like project managers, people like contractors, people, interior designers, students, anyone who is in the industry or interested in the industry, whether or not you are in Barbados or across the region or the world. So this is a hybrid conference. We will be having it at LESC. And it will also be online as well. So if you are anywhere in the world, you can take part. And it is worthwhile taking part because we have a slate of persons who will be taking part. Our keynote speaker is Mr. Michael McGuire. He's a lecturer and at Glasgow Collodion University. He has over 21 years of experience in digital construction. The TVAC Council is an Autodesk authorized training center, so you'll be, getting to experience different technology on how to build digitally. Most people that work in engineering and architecture know about the BIM software, which is Building Information and Modeling. Mr. Mohammed will also be giving a presentation from Sherwin-Williams. We'll have Ms. Felicia Cox, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Adaptive Intelligent Solutions. And, we also have a whole slate of other people from, the Architectural Institutes of Trinidad and Jamaica, Williams Solar, BCSI, Barbados Public Workers, a whole slate of people. You can go on our website right now to register or to learn more at ACDC. .tvecouncil.com.bb to find out even more and to register at the same time.
All right, so there's definitely a lot to think about, a lot to talk about, but it's wonderful to see that all of these various entities are represented even in this interview this morning, to be able to show how we have to work in tandem to be able to make our built community a whole lot better. So I want to thank you all for giving up your time and coming to show how important it is for us all to play a part and to be a part of this Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference. I know for me it's very exciting. I like to look at pretty structures. Most women do, pretty rooms, and I know that will be a big part of it as well. So thank all of you for coming through and sharing with us. And of course, we'd encourage you to visit tvecouncil.com.bb for a whole lot more information. Go to the link acdc.tvecouncil.com.bb to find out more information, or give them a call. The conference is coming up next week. Leah, leave us with some dates and a little bit more drive as to why all of those professionals definitely need to register, the cost, and how they can do so, why they need to do so quickly as well.
So the conference is coming up from the 19th to the 21st of September this year. The biggest reason why most people should be coming out is because you get, one, the opportunity to learn, get knowledge from every expert that we have available throughout the Caribbean and throughout the rest of the world. You get to earn up to 23 CPD points, which is something that professionals in the industry have to get every year. So this is a place that you can really come and get the bulk of them one time. And really, the costs right now are an investment of about $700 if you are not a member of an organization. They're also $600 if you are, and students, you will be paying a day rate, and these are all if you are in person, of about $175 a day. And you can also participate online. If you're a part of an organization, you'll be paying $300. If you are not part of an organization, it'll be $400. And yeah, that's about it. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for coming in and sharing with us. A full slate, like I told you. So, Mr. Mohammed, Ms. Thompson, Mr. Jones, I wish you the very best on the conference. We certainly look forward to hearing a whole lot more about it. And of course, there are so many other complexities that come with us being even small island developing states, is why people need to, look into what we're looking at, the basic things that we're battling with in our built environment. So a whole lot more than just development. So this definitely is a conference that should bear the interest of people across the island. So thank you again for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
you.
Most certainly. We're going to take another break and come back on Morning Barbados. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My friend, you don't plan to get it. Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's time to jump right into Doc Talk. And we love to be able to talk about what's happening with our gentlemen, but specifically today we want to talk about the treatment of kidney stones. Let's go right ahead and welcome Dr. Paul Rouse, who is a urologist. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Barbados. Thanks again for having me.
All right, so good to have you with us. Let's start at the beginning. How do you know that you're having challenges with kidney stones?
So the usual way most patients will present is they will present with abdominal pain. We discussed this not too long ago. The reason why I brought back up this topic again is because, again, recently I've been seeing a lot of patients with kidney stones. So usually we'll present with pain. We usually say in the flank. So this is the area on the side of your body in between the rib cage and your pelvic bone, or around the back, and sometimes it radiates down into the groin area. And this not only in men, but also in women, for that matter. I'm actually quite surprised by how a lot of people actually don't. I know it's not very common in women, but women also do get kidney stones as well. So usually the most cases, I do ask patients to see their GP in the first instance. My GP colleagues are very clued on. They usually know with the classic symptoms, that colicky type pain that comes and goes, quite severe pain, usually sudden onset. Usually going to do a urine analysis in their office, which usually will show some blood or some protein or some white cells inside the urine, which will tell us that something is going on in the urinary tract. And usually the most starting point is either, as you put up there just now, with the x-ray, an x-ray of the abdomen, or an ultrasound is usually the most common starting point. And that usually would show, if not usually see the stone, but sometimes you can see obstruction caused by the stone, obstruction of the kidney. And then usually they usually pick up the phone, have a chat with myself, or some patients do present to emergency centers, and they will go on to have a CT scan for further evaluation.
All right. Now, I know that sometimes there's some, over the years, there have most certainly been some old wives' tales and things of that nature when it comes to kidney stones, some misconceptions that people have. Can lifestyle impact, or does lifestyle impact whether you get a kidney stone? A lot of people talk about the makeup of our environment in terms of the limestone with the water and moving more toward filtration systems and things of that nature. Is there any truth to that?
It would naturally seem that way, because most kidney stones are something called calcium oxalate, but actually it's not really the main problem. Is really not the calcium in our diet. So the main problem is usually the oxalates in our diet. Fortunately, Barbados is becoming a lot more affluent, and therefore we are consuming a lot of foods that do contain a lot more oxalates, and hence why we're seeing an increasing incidence of calcium, of kidney stones in our population. A lot of the old wives' tales about consuming water in Barbados, given that we are limestone based, there's no dietary evidence to that to a certain extent. Because if you look at it, as you saw there in that diagram, that person, both kidneys would have been exposed to the same water, but only a stone developing on the right hand side there. So the high calcium in our water, I do not contributory factor as far as when last I looked at it. But one of the main problems with becoming a more affluent society and working a lot, one of the biggest problems with why we develop kidney stones is that we do not drink enough. Regardless of whatever is forming your stones, whether it's calcium oxalate, whether it's uric acid, calcium carbonate, etc., in theory, if you drink enough water to dilute your urine, the stones wouldn't form in the first place. And that's probably one of the main contributing factors. And certainly our environment, where it's very hot, again, recently why we're seeing more an upsurge in stones is that right now, as you know, most days now in Barbados, the temperature is well over 30 degrees Celsius. So we're sweating a lot, we're losing a lot more water. So it's very important to maintain a good fluid intake. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons. We're busy, we don't want to stop, we don't have to go get water, because if we are taking water, then we need to go to the bathroom to pass urine, so therefore it's going to interrupt our work day, it's going to interrupt our meetings, and we shy away from taking fluids, certainly during the day, and then we tend to probably take them in on the evenings. But actually, the average person only passes about a liter of urine a day, despite what most people think. So when I get my patients to actually measure how much they're taking in, they're really surprised how little urine they actually produce. For the average person, that's okay, but for a stone former, you really need to be getting up to a good 2.5 liters of urine a day to help significantly reduce your risk of stone formation. So fluid intake is one of the key things. Next, probably big thing in our diet is probably our intake of animal protein. The problem with animal protein is that it is protein, so then those amino acids, his protein is broken down into amino acids, and those acids have to go somewhere. So therefore, then when we excrete those acids in our urine, it acidifies the urine, and it then predisposes us to stone formation. So that's another consequence of our affluent diet, in that we're eating a lot more animal protein. So ideally, we should be eating more plant-based protein, and then if you do have an animal protein, fish is probably the better option and more nutritious option for that matter.
All right, let's talk diagnosis and into treatment, the types of treatments that are available for us once we discover, hey, there's a kidney stone here, I'm experiencing these challenges, I've gone to my doctor, what's next?
Just one quick other point, the other thing about your diet is, especially here in Barbados where there's a lot of NCDs, is our salt intake. I really want to add that in because that's a real not only problem for us with kidney stones. Added salt in our diet, the sodium causes us to drop a lot more calcium in our urine. So that's something important that we shouldn't add in salt into our diet. In the ideal setting, I know it's very difficult because we want salt for flavor of our food. But once you unfortunately develop the signs and the symptoms of a kidney stone, as I said, usually the diagnosis hinges on the CT scan. So once you initially have that X-ray or KUB by the emergency center or your GP, then you really need a CT scan. The reason being it gives us good anatomical information. It tells us the size of the stone and where the stone is, and gives us an idea of what you can expect. So a lot of the assessment hinges around what you call your CTKUB. This is a quick scan that can be done at, unfortunately here in Barbados, we have several CT scanners to help make the diagnosis. So the size of the stone is very important and the location. Usually once most stones, I think the more up-to-date studies now are saying if a stone is less than about 6-7 millimeters, chance of you passing it on your own, albeit with quite a bit of pain sometimes. So I do advise when my GP colleagues ask or my emergency colleagues ask, once the patients are well, in other words, and we can get their pain under good control with painkillers, then we then allow them a chance to pass the stone. So they usually would have started off with an ultrasound or an X-ray. I usually would defer those patients by seeing those patients by about 4 to 6 weeks. I would tell them this over the telephone. That a stone that size, usually most of the time it's in the ureter, that's a tube going from the kidney. There's a good chance you'll pass it on your own, and therefore you don't need to rush and see me because I'm going to see you, I'm going to say all of this, and then I'm going to still see you in 4 to 6 weeks with a repeat scan to ensure that you've passed this stone. So once it's small, your pain is under good control, and the other key thing is that there's no signs of infection. In other words, there's no fever, not feeling unwell. Then it's quite safe to what we call expectant management or conservative management, where you pass the stone. Unfortunately, you do have those stones that are quite big. You do have those stones that are associated with infection. There are those stones that, despite oral painkillers, it's just too painful, and therefore we need to intervene from a surgical point of view. We've gone away now from a lot of open procedures, and we're doing a lot more procedures.
All right, let's talk about that stone removal. Sounds pretty painful to me from where I sit.
Yeah, well, the procedure is quite painful on your own. So actually, we do a procedure I wanted to talk about was laser uteroscopy and laser lithotripsy. So the vast majority of stones are relatively small in terms of 1 to 2 centimeters, but obviously much bigger stones. But I'll discuss that at another time. What I wanted to talk about this is that so that patients know that these treatments are available. I believe most of my urology colleagues do offer uteroscopy and laser lithotripsy, and a lot of the times this can actually be done as a day procedure. I'm not sure if the video will run there, in that you pass a small flexible telescope via your water passage, so that's up the urethra, into your bladder, up the ureter, see the stone, and using high intensity light, that's what a laser is really, to break the stone up into small fragments. As you can see there in the video, that breaks up the stone into small fragments that we can remove. So sometimes you can either, depending on which technique the urologist decides, whether you would do a dusting technique where it breaks this stone up into very fine sand-like fragments, therefore allowing you to pass them on your own, or in this video, I'm deliberately making this to 3 bigger fragments that I'll remove with a basket, and I'll have that stone, those fragments available to send off to the laboratory for, so that's a nice video there of me removing some fragments. I'll send those fragments off to the laboratory, do a stone analysis. That helps me to see what type of stone it is, so therefore I can be able to give that patient some more specific dietary advice related to the type of stone that they're performing. And the beauty of this procedure, as I said, it is all minimally invasive, so there's no cutting on the outside anymore. Before, we used to cut for stones, and that meant that if you got a big hands like mine, you got to make a big, relatively big incision just to get to the very tiny ureter, to make an incision into the ureter to remove the stone. So we've gone away from that. Most stones now are treated endoscopically or minimally invasively, like this uteroscopy, laser lithotripsy. There have been lots of new innovations as well. I'm happy to say here in Barbados, we also now have suction catheters, such catheters, that makes it a lot more, in terms of stone clearance, a lot more. I've done this now in about 4 or 5 cases, and I'm getting some really good stone clearance rates, almost 100% with one procedure.
All right. Well, thank you so much, as always, Dr. Paul Rouse, leaving us with lots to think about. If you're having or experiencing pain in the flank area, you definitely need to check it out. I think you said that is like the #1 place where you start to experience some discomfort. So definitely look into it, because there's so many people out here who they have challenges or they have pain going on, and they set it aside. Setting it aside is just delaying you taking care of your health. Thank you as always. Have a wonderful day today. You've left me this early morning traumatized.
Hopefully not. You can see it's right. That picture went home the same day.
I'm kidding.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rouse. All right, so make sure you take care of yourselves, okay? Particularly if you have people who are experiencing pain and they feel something, go check it out and find out what's happening. Hey, I have a question for you when we come back. Are you back to school ready? We'll find out after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it. Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
Children, the summer holiday is almost over, but are you back to school ready? Get back to school ready with Mornin Barbados and get a chance to win a back to school bundle, including a printer, a tablet, and headphones, just in time for the new school year. The Mornin Barbados Are You Back to School Ready promotion starts August 31st until September 13th. If you're between the ages of 8 to 15, all you have to do is tune in to Mornin Barbados and listen for when we ask, are you back to school ready? Call us at 228-5562 or 228...
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Children, the summer holiday is almost over, but are you back to school ready? Get back to school ready with Mornin Barbados and get a chance to win a back to school bundle, including a printer, a tablet, and headphones, just in time for the new school year. The Mornin Barbados Are You Back to School Ready promotion starts August 31st until September 13th. If you're between the ages of 8 to 15, all you have to do is tune in to Mornin Barbados and listen for when we ask, are you back to school ready? Call us at 228-5562 or 228-5563. Answer 3 questions correctly and your name goes forward to the final draw. Remember, callers must be between the ages of 8 and 15. The winner will be announced on September 14th.
So here's the question, and your final time to get in with a chance to win this tech bundle that we're giving you to make sure that you are indeed back to school ready. I'm told I have someone on the phone lines already. You guys are definitely getting in here early. You're calling 228-5562 or 228-5563 for a chance to win that tech bundle. Maya is on the telephone line. Maya is 9 years old. Good morning to you, Maya. Good morning, Maya. What school do you go to?
I go to St. Stephen's.
Oh, my school, St. Stephen's Primary. And you're heading into class 2?
No, please.
You're heading into class 3?
Yes, please.
You're a big girl. What's your favorite subject?
Mathematics.
Mathematics. All right, no surprises here. All right, I have a question for you, and you have to answer me enthusiastically. You know what enthusiastically means, right? You have to be excited about it. Are you back to school ready?
Yes, please.
I believe you, Maya. All right, here are your 3 questions. Question number 1. How many days make up a week?
7.
Correct. How many wheels will I find on a tricycle?
3.
And finally, what is the 6th letter of the alphabet?
F.
That's absolutely correct. Congratulations, Maya. You got all of your questions correct, so you are indeed back to school ready. All right, what are you looking forward to most in heading back out to school? Meeting up with your friends, getting new teachers, going into a new class, all of the above? Oh, definitely seeing your friends. I am happy you had a good summer holiday, but I'm happy you're also back to school ready. And we're going to be announcing the winners tomorrow, so make sure you listen to see if you are a big winner of that lucky bundle. Do you remember what you're getting a chance to win? Oh, she's gone already. All right, congratulations and a special good morning to everybody at St. Stephen's Primary School heading back in, going in for the first time, or just heading out of St. Stephen's Primary School. Hey, we're going to take a break and come back and wrap up today's edition of Morning Barbados. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So that most certainly is it from us for today. We hope you enjoyed today's presentation. We had lots to talk about and we had a good time. So make sure you come on back tomorrow, okay? Remember to wear your smiles as you go through the day and do something nice for someone. Always makes you feel good. Be a blessing as well. Coming up tomorrow, we're continuing to talk about students in transition as we look forward to the start of the new school term on Monday. Plus, you get to meet a few Chevening scholars. How about that? That's all tomorrow on Morning Barbados. Have a great day today and think of ways that you can beat the heat. Drink lots of water and we'll see you back here, God willing, tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.